Call the meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the approval of the minutes from September 21st. Do we have a motion to accept them as submitted?
I'll move it.
Second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have public comment. And do we have a government student? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm Sarai Westerfeld.
Nice to meet you.
And you probably picked a very good meeting to come to, being one of the first students to come in. This is not a long agenda. Mm-hmm. Good choice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
And then I believe you might have a paper that just needs to be signed at the end of the meeting if they're still doing that. If so, you can just have any one of the board members sign it for you, or your notes or anything. All right, there's no public comment yet. So discussion items. We had a finance committee meeting last week, and just to kind of give a recap, and this is available on your board docs, so you can see the worksheets that we worked with. But basically, we have a surplus of fund balance, and there's some contributing factors to this. If you remember, when we had to withhold the when the state was actually withholding the 20%, and we had to cut some funding elsewhere just to prepare for that, and then they returned those funds. The workers' compensation withdrawal payment was received. The ARP funds were received. We had a savings in the bus garage flood insurance. So with that, Meg is looking into putting some money into the capital reserves, and as well as the TRS and ERS reserves. So, you know, that'll pan out by the end of the year, and we'll see, you know, what we have, whether we need to put additional funds in reserves or not. And then we also discussed our budget calendar, which that's being brought forward this evening. And pretty much the same, but we decided to hold one of the community budget forums until later on in the year, because a lot of times we have it so early, we don't have any of the figures, you know, from the governor's office or anything, so we'll hold off on that until later on. And we did discuss a possible survey, just to get feedback of what the general public or students or staff might like to see, that they can provide feedback to us, you know, through the survey before we're actually developing, you know, the budget.
Like a project or like increased class of this or that.
Yeah.
Like district priorities from a financial perspective.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll develop a format and bring it forward for review to the board to get your blessing on the format of it, and then we'll push it out probably in November.
That capital reserve that we created was approved on 5/21/19. That maximum funding on that was 8 million. For some reason, I had in my head it was 10. I may be wrong, but
No,
for some
you're
reason I
right.
was
We
looking
did
at that.
discuss.
We should just look at
10,
that, because I'm not, for some reason that's not what I had in my recollection, but I could be completely wrong on that.
That's something that we can send to Meg to confirm that.
Right. No, I mean, if we ever got
But
to
I know
reserve
both
amount of
those-
that amount, we,
No,
Yeah,
well,
both of those figures.
As I
were thrown out
understand
there.
it, it's what you put in for all of our projects, and as you pull it out, it doesn't matter. It's a cumulative of what you add into it. So over the lifespan of it, with capital projects, I mean, you could theoretically get there. It's gonna take quite a few years, but.
right, and then you have to disband it and then create another one, correct?
Right.
For the
Right.
approval?
Right. But I want to say we changed something, because remember we were gonna do both projects at one time?
Yep.
and maybe that's when it went up to the 10, but we can confirm that with Meg. Meg.
Yeah.
All right, and we have a new labor relations service. Would you like to?
Yep, I asked at the board's request for Andy Lalonde to come down this evening so he could put a face with a name and he can introduce himself and kind of what he's doing, you know, his role is for the district.
Good evening, thank you for
This is
having us. My name is Andy Lalonde, it's been introduced. I am the coordinator for the Madison and BOCES Labor Service. We are staffed by 5 attorneys. We've evolved over the last 16 years plus that I've been with the BOCES, from 1 to 5. Not that attorneys make us any more special, it just happens that the idiosyncrasies of running school districts are far more complicated than they ever have been. The good news is we got about 150 years of experience plus between the 5 of us. Fortunately, we have a couple of young ones in us because some of us with the gray hair get a little bit on the edge here. But with that, with about 44 years with the BOCES, which has been very beneficial. We serve roughly 25 school districts as labor service, and we also provide a policy service, which provides for about 50 school districts in upstate New York region. We cover 4 BOCES, the Herkimer BOCES, the OHM BOCES, and Etta Herkimer Madison, our own BOCES, Madison and Etta, as well as the DCMO BOCES, where we've been roughly 4 or 5 years now. We cover all facets. As you know, as board members, there is nothing simple about education, and it's not simply just, you know, we cover student discipline, we cover student issues, we cover employment issues, we cover any facets of operating a school district. So it's multi-venturous, if you will. We have separately, because of our culture, we're defined as a labor service, so we are not quote practicing attorneys per se as far as representing the BOCES. But we all have legal backgrounds as far as that goes, and many of us have different various backgrounds. One was a partner of Todd King. 2 of us, including myself, have been city attorneys for cities upstate New York. So a large variety of different backgrounds, which has served us well because there is no one piece of running a school district as far as labor services go. We've been very fortunate. We've had very good luck as far as working with people that we have. We try to provide services on a 24-hour response time, if not sooner. As you can see, we're willing to travel as it is. Hancock's probably our furthest spot south. Road 8 is becoming very popular. I'm just watching out for the deers, if you will. And it's great work. I mean, if we don't have an answer, we'll look it up for you. We will be available for board meetings if you need us. Whatever facets of operating a business, we're available for help. We like to think we've been very successful as far as the work we do. We've got good working relationships with the districts we work with. And we are here for your pleasure. So if there's times you need us to come down, as we've told your superintendent, we'll be on here for you. And what I was going to say is we have one separate piece. We do also provide what is called an intermunicipal agreement because our culture is labor, not legal. We also provide labor services on the side at a discounted rate. As far as providing that, we don't mandate it. Our role is not here to take over for the school attorney. But I think our hourly rate now is $115 an hour for legal services as well.
If you remember, we approved that earlier in the year, so we had that secondary thing to do it.
Now, as a practical matter, it's kind of a schizophrenic relationship because in reality, everything we do in labor is pretty much has some tie-in with the law in some capacity or another. But when we are talking about legal, if you had to go to court, if you are doing student disciplinary hearings, because it does require, at least in our position, having an attorney handle the hearing officer role, that's what we do charge separately. Other than that, there's pretty much not much, unless we have to go to court. You know, we do PINS work. We also have been in the Supreme Court as needed or federal court. And like I said, we all have various background. My particular background is I was a city attorney for 2 different cities in upstate New York. I did 6 years of workers' comp exclusively. I represented upstate medical for a year, and then I've been in private practice. And that's pretty much how our work goes. We all have somewhat of a collective background, which serves us well, because there's no one easy answer and there's no one point in labor relations that it has an easy answer to it. So we're thankful that you're willing to give us a chance, and we'd like to think that we're gonna be helpful for you the next year or years to come. So, try to answer any questions if you have, otherwise, we thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Any questions?
Good.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much for
Thank you.
coming.
Well, it's my pleasure,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Nice to meet you.
In the unfortunate situation, which will occur from time to time when we have a superintendent hearing, Andy's group, the Labor Relations Group, will be our hearing officer,
Yeah,
much as Labor Relations has been in our past.
We've had 6 this week alone, probably 15 or 20 since the school year started, I know of. So it's keeping us busy. Kids are a challenge.
Okay,
And-
thank you, Andy. Don't feel like you have
Yeah,
to
don't
stay.
feel like
I'll
you have
stay
to
for a few
stay.
minutes and then I'll go back.
Okay.
They're doing construction on 216, so I might as well wait and see if they'll finish it up. Before I go.
All right, just as a reminder, the audit committee meeting will be at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, October 19th. And the bus driver appreciation ceremony will be at the school bus garage on October 20th at 9:30. So if anybody would like to attend that, I don't know how many, we're not doing it virtually, are we?
Nope, we're gonna
Okay.
do it normal like we did last year.
Okay.
I hold the service awards again, so I'll have you give out the service awards. You know, you and I will that morning as well. And it'll be nicely done. Tracy and I have already discussed it. We're gonna do it normal.
All right, sounds good.
Do you need to have a heads up, or do we have a spacing issue or anything like that? That shouldn't at the bus garage, right?
No, more than, you're all,
We just
No
might
issue
be
at
in
all.
another bag, but.
we'll just spread out.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, are there any correspondence?
No, we do not have any.
Any additions to the agenda?
No.
There was none then, okay. All right, we have the consent agenda. We have the financial reports. And we have declared surplus items. That is a floor cleaning machine and a blood pressure machine. And the 2022-23 budget calendar. We have, am I skipping over these as I'm flipping through these? I feel like I am. Budget calendar, okay. We have personnel appointments, Colleen Bartlett, custodial worker, Maria Allen, food service helper, and Rachel Vesterfeld, teacher.
And we did have one other additional item, the physical therapy contract services.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I did skip, okay, so yes, and does anybody have any questions on that? That is a new, item to our district because of the circumstances, but,
Is this the same Colleen Bartlett that was out here?
yes.
Okay,
And she still is out there. This is in addition to her date.
okay.
So if there's no questions, or concerns, do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I move it. I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, 8, accepting of donations. We have $136 from Zotis Industry Support Program to the Walton FFA chapter. We have water bottles to the Townsend Elementary School from Patrice Chambers, Katie Hodges, Carla Green, and Judy Neal. We have school supplies to the Townsend Elementary School from Dawn Northrup, and face masks to the Townsend Elementary School from Joanne Pomeroy and Jane Contello. Do we have a motion to accept those donations?
Make a motion. Second.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And in the past week, we received 1,500 cloth face masks from Office of Homeland Security. 500 youth and 1,000 adult, so we certainly have
Cloth,
enough.
reusable?
Cloth, reusable, yep.
Nice, because when we get to the supervisor reports, I noticed that that was one of the concerns, that how many we're going through of the disposable, so
Yeah.
that's nice to have the reusables.
Yep, administrators are, we've gotten them to them, and we have them targeting the students that are constantly using the disposables and giving them the cloth
Yeah.
and hoping to slow that down.
Okay, wonderful. All right, and then we have the authorization for a pre-referendum service proposal, and this is for the Townsend Elementary floor remediation project. Do we have a motion to accept that? Or are there any questions on that?
I have none, I would move it.
Second,
I'll second
all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. And we have the personnel appointments, Jordan Hitchcock for a custodial worker at a rate of $26,000. Do we have a motion to accept the appointment?
it. I'll move it.
Second,
second.
all in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. And next we have the supervisors' remarks. Are there any questions other than the masks? And it looks like the items that John has ordered are
Back order.
still on back order.
Back ordered a little bit, yeah.
They are,
Basketball
They are.
rim, tractor.
yeah, basketball room we were supposed to have by now. We followed up to say, where is it? And they said, oh, no, it's not shipping now until. So we've got that issue. We've got, and not on here as well is, you recall that we were working on playground equipment and playground edging. So we're working on that. That will, more than likely will be done over April break. And it's going to be, they came on site and did an analysis. They're gonna dig out the entire chip area because it's gotten so compressed. Put all new down so we get the complete safety, replace any piece of equipment, replace any of the edging that is not, as a disrepair and broke. So we'll have a new setup over there as far as safety goes. But it won't be until April because
Right.
there's delays on everything on their end as well. So we're working on all of those.
I know we personally ordered a new basketball rim for the house, and it took a long time. I don't know
Yep.
what components are holding them, but it took a while to get.
That, anybody able to do anything outdoors, they wanted their hands on them, just
Yeah.
like bikes, kayaks, anything. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's true.
So,
There's a lot going on, as you can see in the supervisor's reports. And
Now, is there any talk about replacing, when we pull all those wood chips out, are we gonna replace it with something different or stick with the wood chips?
they recommend the wood chips.
Do they?
Yeah,
Okay.
they still recommend it. And the two schools that have done new playgrounds around us, they ended up doing the same fill back. So I don't know if there's other options out there or not, but that's what's recommended. This is
Turf
Park
fields.
Right.
no, I've seen
Yeah,
like
the rubber-
kind of rubberized chips or something
Yeah,
like
you know.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in those, I don't.
No.
No,
Yeah.
that's it, but he said he didn't know it. I've seen them at different places.
I was just even thinking of
In the
like the
playgrounds.
rubber mat type. I
Mhm.
guess it's
Yeah.
probably made out of the same type of material though, but.
Yeah. The new on the kindergarten side where that unit's gotta go away and we're gonna be replacing the whole unit. That actually is gonna come with, on the bottom of the slides, they put an actual mat cushion
Okay.
down, which I thought was interesting. I've never seen that before. Usually it's wood chips and there you go, land softly. But,
And then feet.
where we're at.
Come on.
Alright.
Just, something come up at work today for you. I'm sure you guys are probably already talking about it, or it's on Tracy's radar. Are you typically gonna do the snow and ice gathering with superintendents?
Mhm.
Okay. I was asked about that today, and I
Yep.
figured you would, but just,
Yeah, Tracy, reaches out and sets that up when we get, usually,
Around now.
yeah, like toward the end of this month, I think. Yep.
Alright, we're up to superintendent remarks.
Okay, just a quick update on construction. If you notice, the weeklies have stopped coming because they're getting toward the end of this phase one. But this past weekend, over here, they finished the last interior roof tear off, and that was the kitchen. The only two areas they have for full tear off and replacement are the two entrances. So the middle school entrance and then the high school entrance. Middle school will be done Saturday. They'll be done working by 11 a.m. as far as moving equipment around. So the equipment will be parked, they'll be on the roof working, but at least the equipment won't be moving when traffic starts flowing in for the games. And then the following weekend, they'll do the high school entrance. And other than that, they're doing finishing work around the building. That's over here. Flood mitigation in Townsend, they've got those last, if you remember going into the second grade, they had the 2 door sets they had to do. Those are going in Friday. We're gonna close down that wing and have the teachers go out the end doors for their conference day and let them work in there. And they're gonna do outside finishing up as far as sealing the windows and the doors and such throughout. And then Saturday and Monday, they'll be on site working, finishing up those doors and other inside work. So they're real close. And phase 2 coordination has already begun. We had a lengthy meeting Friday morning, and after that I met with Tim Weber and Colin on site, and they're working on designing some coordination that would allow us to potentially get started out front in April, so they can get going on this out front. So as soon as they get a proposal together of how that's going to work, I'm gonna request a facilities meeting, because the movement and such is so important. And we'll get together and we'll look at what their coordination is together as a group and give the blessing. Yep, that sounds good to the board.
Yeah.
I think it's important, because we're talking about moving people, fencing. I think it'll work. At least it sounds good, but I'd like to get some eyes on other than mine.
Right.
So that's coming up. Other than that, we're open. Have the DOH reports been helpful?
Yes, very
To see
helpful,
those,
thank
we
you.
created that new spreadsheet, Rick and I populated.
Yep.
So we'll keep those coming. Sometimes I miss a day if there's not much activity, but we'll catch up, and we'll keep that coming to you. And as you can see, we're hopefully not in a dip, hopefully we're in a new normal. But at any point, we can have a spike. We heard today.
Try
you
not
know,
to
there's
comment.
some in the community.
So we don't jinx
I
it.
know. I know.
After I said that, then I'm thinking, oh, great, you know?
Yeah, I said that Sunday watching the Giants play. I said, shh, don't praise them, because you're gonna forget how to play football. So, you know, same type of thing. Don't jinx anything.
Yeah.
But we're doing well. We're doing well. The mask, the indoor mask is a challenge. We're trying to work with kids rather than discipline heavy with kids with masks. We're trying to be understanding with the process and remind them. It's not easy sometimes, but it's going well for the most part. Everybody's following what they need to follow, but they're teenagers, so we'll keep working with them. And hopefully, if this remains steady, I'm gonna start having conversations with the county DOH to say, okay, we're 3 weeks, we're steady, the county's steady. There's a time that we can start loosening up a little bit inside of the buildings. I know what I'm gonna get told, but I'm gonna try to advocate on behalf of our kids and our staff. Even if it's just longer breaks at their desk,
Right.
that type of thing. So not movement around the building or anything like that. So we'll see what happens. But I'll advocate. I'll give it another week or so. If it stays steady, then I'm gonna start. And I'll let you know when I do, in case you hear anything, because I advocate kind of strong.
I mentioned this morning, the homecoming gathering this weekend, the kids, the positive feedback from the students has been tremendous. Well received, having that down at the fairgrounds. I mean, the kids are just beaming to be able to get out and be together. So my hat's off to staff that organized all of that. Kudos, whatever you shot for, you well exceeded that with your student body, because they were really buzzing about it all weekend, how much fun that was, and nice interactions to be, almost a normal for them again, which was overdue and needed. So my hat's
Well,
off to staff that did
in-person
that.
socialization.
Yeah.
That's the, big key, look at each other, their whole face outside, and have conversation. And if anybody's still struggling, with the whole thing, seek help, talk to somebody, because it's definitely, on everybody's minds.
Yes.
From ninth graders to seniors, everybody has been talking about it.
Did
so.
you go?
Yes,
Was it fun?
it was very fun, yeah.
All right.
Definitely appreciated it.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Excellent job.
Yeah. We all want to get back to normal.
Yes, we do. But again, we'll continue. We'll continue within our safety. We'll be as creative as we possibly can to keep bringing the normalcy back.
Right. And the addition outside, the tents?
Yeah, there's if they're getting signed up. There's a class. I think the first class signed up was I think somewhere out there today. But on the list that Mr. Hoover has for coordination, I know Bryn Hoover's out tomorrow, for a majority of the day in one of the tents. So it'll grow, depending on the weather. So that's for middle school. High school and Townsend, elected to hold until spring.
Oh,
The
okay.
teachers want to hold till spring. So that's up to them. I don't want to put anything up that they're not going to utilize. So middle school, yeah, those students tend to need to be outside as much as they can.
And good for them.
Yep.
You know,
I relate
teachers.
to that.
That's
Alright,
all.
anything else? No? Okay. Number 10, policy first reading. Mr. Wood, would you like to do the honors?
You know I would, Rhonda. All right. Policies for their first reading. Number 1530, smoking, vaping, and other tobacco use on school premises. 4000, student learning standards and instructional guidelines. 5460, child abuse, neglect, and maltreatment in a domestic setting. 8220, buildings and grounds maintenance and inspection. 8505, charging school meals and prohibition against shaming.
And 4,000, do you have that one?
Mhm.
Did you say that one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
4000, student learning standards and instructional guidelines.
Sorry. I just,
I'm not the
totally
one who
missed
went
that
from D to F before.
All right. Do we declare this as being the first reading of these policies? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Second?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I only want one motion.
Okay, next one's yours, bud.
I thought I seconded yours. You get the one.
And do we have a need for executive session? We do not, right?
No, we do.
Oh, we do, okay.
Oh,
All right, so there is a need for executive session to discuss matters relating to a particular employee. Do we have a motion to enter executive session?
Before we go too much further, I have an issue over from council school that I'd like to discuss, and I don't know whereabouts you want to put that.
Right now, it's
But
fine.
it's not a major deal. It was over for the open house, and, back by the parking lot of the basketball court, there, we have a chain link fence on the one side of the sidewalk. But on the other, there's a guardrail on steel posts. And the top of those posts are exposed. I don't know if any of you road enough to remember the one Harold boy that slipped on one down here at the bridge, cut a femoral artery, and just about made it to the hospital. I'd
So
like to
the-
see some kind of a covering on that.
So the chain link fence goes along the parking lot, and then it's the side that goes towards the walkway.
But the
Chain link
guardrail.
fence is on one side of the walkway, and the guardrails are on the other.
Okay.
And it's those guardrail posts that concern me a little bit, because they are sharp edges.
They're right in front of that new fence, right? On the parking lot.
It's on the other side of the sidewalk from the new fence.
Yep.
Is there some way we could cover them, or,
So we didn't pull them out when we put the chain link fence
Well, I
in?
think one's an automotive barrier and one's a
Yeah.
student barrier.
One's to stop the
Two
ball.
different,
Two different purposes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, one is to,
What we put the fence in was to take care of the posts out of the fence that were jagged,
Right.
but the guardrails in front of that is lower to stop cars.
Oh, and
But
then
then
they
above
stick-
that must be
okay.
sticking up.
that's the ones that are sticking
Okay.
up?
right,
Not so
we'll
much
get on it.
sticking up, but the back side of the guardrails,
Mhm.
has the angle iron there.
Mhm.
And they can be rough. Sometime or another, we take a look at them, see if there's some kind of coating or covering we can put on them. You know, if a kid slips on the ice or something and lands on it, it's still gonna do some damage.
Or even putting the cone, like, I don't know what you call them, Kevin, you probably, this specific name for them, but it's like a concrete barrier with the plastic cone that goes over it,
yeah,
and put that down through and
the
remove the
problem with
guard
these
through.
is that the rail is bolted to the face of the plate of the post.
Mhm.
So it's the backside edge of the post. Almost need to put like a banister rail across the
Second
top
rail or-
of it, some type of a barrier, or the only thing I can think of would be maybe to cut the backside of the post on an angle so that it wasn't a flat with a vertical edge. That if you tapered the edge, you might be able to take or even just grind it to like a miter joint of 45 off the edges, and at least then to give it a little bit of,
You know, take the points out from them.
right,
you know.
and make it a little bit more blunt, not
Mm-hmm.
sharp. And,
Yep, we'll take a
so
look.
it would,
Definitely
it would
something.
help it, but with the, just the way the posts are built to stop automobiles, so they're not very forgiving to
No,
flush, but they are typically,
we'll get them below the
Sure.
rail level, that's the
So.
key, right? Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Al. Anything to avoid liability and injury.
All right. We get a motion to go into exec.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, that's it. You are
Okay.
done for the evening.
We're not.